Hi everybody, my name is Susie and I'm coming to you today from my little yellow submarine underneath the sea. I'm in a particularly beautiful part of the ocean, the Caribbean Ocean, and I'm parked here just a little bit to the right of Jamaica. Jamaica is a beautiful island in the Caribbean, and I just visited up there. Oh, it's so gorgeous. And I talked to so many wonderful Jamaicans who shared wonderful traditional Jamaican folk stories with me. My favorite was about Anansi, the tricky little spider who is always getting himself into mischief. And I thought I could write these stories down and maybe share some of them with you. So I wrote it down in a big book and I thought I'd like to tell it to you today. Would you like to hear it? You would? Oh, I'm really glad. So here goes. This one is called Anansi and the Magic Pot. Anansi was troubled. Month after month, the drought was like a monster, sucking the life out of every growing thing. Soon there would be nothing left on his farm but a few stalks of corn. One morning, Anansi took a walk along a path through the forest that led to the river. There he saw a most beautiful pot with strange symbols carved on the outside. Inside it was as smooth as the stones on the riverbed. In all my born days, I have never seen such a magnificent pot, exclaimed Anansi. I wonder what the symbols mean. Fill the pot, said the pot. Fill the pot, repeated Anansi in astonishment, and before he could say more, the pot was filled with delicious chicken stew, hot and nice. Anansi set to it at once and devoured the food. Ye gods and little fishes, that was a meal fit for a king. How often do you perform? He asked the pot. As often as you like, replied the pot. Just say the words, fill the pot, and you shall have whatever you wish for. But on no account must you wash me, or my magic powers will cease. Agreed, said Anansi at once. He had no intention of washing the pot anyway, because he was really lazy. Besides, it would be easier to keep the pot a secret. He hid it underneath some bushes a little way away from his house. The very next day, Anansi took the path through the forest, but as soon as he was out of sight from his house, he crept into the bushes and took out the pot. Fill the pot, he really said in a loud voice, commanding it to do whatever he wished. He wished for roast pork and red beans. Immediately, the pot was filled to overflowing with a savory meal. Anansi ate every morsel, including the pork rind. All that night, he could not sleep for thinking of the mouth-watering food he would get from the pot. On the following day, he returned to the bushes and again said the words, fill the pot. This time, the pot bubbled with creamy hot pepper pot soup. Green split peas, chunks of salted meat and a medley of delicious vegetables floated in the thick, delicious soup. In a trice, Anansi emptied the pot and licked it clean up. Meanwhile, at home, Anansi's wife and children had to be satisfied with a daily diet of such vegetables as they found in the forest. Remember, there was a drought, right? And by the time that was shared amongst them, each one received barely a spoonful. Yet every night, Anansi returned home and ate his share of the meager meal to avoid suspicion, of course. One day, Taco, his eldest child, said to his mother, "I think se Papa is up to him old tricks, you know, Mom. See how him a get fatter and fatter every day, Mama? Yet he eats the same meager meal as we do." "Child, hush your mouth," scolded his mother. But after that, she began to watch her husband carefully. She marked the path he took, and one morning she followed him stealthily and saw him eating from the pot. "Oh," she said to herself, "so that's his little game. Well, them say every day for thief, but I say one day for watchman." When Anansi arrived home that night, his wife put his share of food before him, and not a word did she say about the pot. But next morning, while Anansi was still asleep, she crept out of the house and went to the place where the pot was hidden. She examined it very closely. She looked inside the pot and turned it upside down, and as far as she could see, it was a pot with strange signs on the outside and very dirty on the inside. So she took it down to the river and washed it thoroughly. "Now I will take this to the market," she said. "Perhaps someone there will know what the signs them mean. In any case, such a beautiful pot is sure to fetch enough money to buy some food for me and the picnic them." Anansi was not surprised when he awoke and found that his wife had gone out. He knew that she sometimes left home early to look for roast vegetables, to cook, like potatoes and cassava, yam, carrots, beetroot, things like that. So he wasn't worried at all, right? Besides, he was thinking of what he should order from the pot that day. Quickly, he dressed himself and went to the hiding place. But he could not find the pot. Him look there. Him look over yassa. He dug holes and he tore up the bushes. He could find the pot nowhere. Anansi thought to himself, maybe it went back to the river. I mean, if a magic pot can talk, then it might as well can walk too. He rushed down to the river. There was no pot. Finally, Anansi gave up his search and returned home. There he found his wife with a basket of seeds for planting and a cage full of poultry. He was greatly surprised. "Wife," said Anansi, "how did you come by all of this?" Ah, Nancy, replied his wife, it is a long story and a strange one. You know how I believe in my dreams. Well, last night I dreamed that I saw a pot filled with food hidden not far from this house. So I got up early this morning and I went to look for it. And I did find it. The pot, wife. The pot. Where did you put the pot? Asked Anansi impatiently. Well, it was so dirty that I took it down to the river and gave it a great wash before taking it to the market. And just look, Anansi, I got all of this in exchange for the pot. Anansi was so angry. He did not speak nor eat for many days, and little by little his limbs became thin and shriveled, but his stomach remained fat and round with all the food he had eaten. And so he is to this day. And I guess that's why spiders look like spiders. Little shriveled limbs and fat round bellies. Anyway, I hope you liked that story. I'm going to probably go put on my scuba gear and pop the top of this thing and swim around for a little bit. So I'll see you guys later, okay? I hope you liked this story. Bye.